I thought it was worth watching this again. Welcome to part 2 of today's live stream. I don't know, the internet went a little wiggy there for a couple of minutes, so we had to bog out. But we're back. We're back with the greatest theme song ever. This is going to be how we open every show from now on. With the opening sequence from the 80s smash 6-week hit. Nothing else. You belong to me. Remember, this is the show that featured Joe Pesci, Nick Fucktis, Fred the Hammer Williamson, Bubba Smith, Victoria Jackson, there's Bubba, and of course, you belong to me. Look so good from the Valley to Hollywood. You belong to me. And Dean Martin, of course. Martin has to be in there. But down to me. All right, so there you go. Hey, I'm sorry about that. I have no idea when we got knocked off the air because I just start. Oh, Jesus, look at this. We got another problem here. Yikes. We just started rolling, and I get caught up in what it is that I'm doing, and then suddenly I tried to click on something, and it didn't work, and I went back to the page that shows me all the information about the show, and it said that it was trying to connect. So I have no idea. What was the last thing you all heard? Hey, Ross, what was the last thing you guys heard before I went off the air? Because I really don't know. Was I talking about the Russian rap star who was dismembered by his crazy Russian bride? Did you get all that? Because I don't know where I am. I'll wait. Maybe. Apparently, I wasn't all that interesting. So maybe nobody remembers. But I like to get in. I like to get in the stuff that I prepared for. Ah, look at that. We got a Russian guy in the chat room. Now, it's a bot, I'm pretty sure. Sapera. Pugs, why don't you try and pronounce something written in the Cyrillic alphabet? Nah, probably not. Don't have no idea what that's about. But Sapera looks like it works. But he can tell you, whoever that Russian bot is, they can tell you about Russian women, about how crazy you were talking about the Instagram twins. Oh, thank you, Bill. Okay, so you guys missed absolutely nothing. You guys missed absolutely nothing. Okay, so the next thing that we're talking, the meme twins, yeah. So I was telling you about these two twins who died. They both died of COVID. They 72 years old. They died of COVID within like days of each other. They are famous. You know them. When you see them, you'll go, oh yeah, those people. They were originally famous because they hosted a science show, sort of like a I don't know, Mr. Wizard or whatever. Who's Bill Nye, the science guy? They hosted a show like that in France, and they're very popular. And then that was like 30, 40 years ago. And then as they got older, they started to become memes because of well, I'll show you why. But first, let me show you who these guys are. Let me show you who the meme twins are. And that, by the way, that's how they were trending. They were trending as meme twins. So here, I'll show them to you. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So let me show them to you when they were young men. This is from the set of Temp X. Okay. Look at these guys. Look at them. Pretty handsome. Couple of twins. By the way, they're Russian. But they live in Paris. You know, they were French. They grew up in France. Russian twin brothers. Look at them, handsome. You know, look at them. Boy, oh boy, they're like the Froggy Winklevoss boys. Look at them. There they are. Yeah, look, very good looking guys. And look at handsome guys. These two guys both died over the weekend of COVID. They died within days of each other. Okay, so there you go. That's what they looked like when they were young, and then when they became older, they became memes because that's what they like. These guys, come on, look at these guys. Oh my God, right? You've seen these guys, right? They pop up all over the internet. They are the weirdest looking dudes of all time ever. Look at them. They had so much plastic surgery. They were like handsome men. Oh, here, let's look at this one. Went out in public looking like this. I mean, we're talking about dudes who were handsome. Here, do I need to go back? Do I need to show you what they looked like? Oh my God. There they are. Look at these guys. Look at what they did to each other. No, I don't know if they did it to each other, but look. Oh my God. This is called not aging gracefully. Well, they passed away, and that's very sad. But what is going on here? What? Yeah, it's gangsta. You've never seen those guys before, Rob? Oh my God, I've seen them. They've been all over the internet since the internet's been a thing. It's just or social media anyway. I can't think of any number of names these guys are always associated with, but it's because they're so freaky looking. Oh, you know where else I see them in? The clickbait things, like their picture will show up as like clickbait and it'll say something like, "You won't believe the plastic surgery mishaps your favorite stars from the past have endured." And then they'll show like these guys and you're like, who's that? Is that Randolph Mantooth from Emergency One? My God, what has happened? And it turns out it's just these guys. They were on a French show. But yeah, look at that. That's crazy. And again, you know, one of my dearest and closest friends is a good plastic surgeon. And I have to imagine that at some point with these two, my friend, the good plastic surgeon, would go, yeah, exactly, Jen. Number 7 will blow your mind. Look at these. Look at your favorite Hollywood celebrities from the 70s and the terrible plastic surgeries that they've endured. Number 7 will blow your mind. Click, click. Gets me every time. Not because I'm unaware that I'm being fished in, but because I'm such an egotist that I see number 7 will blow your mind. I see that as a challenge. And I'm like, it's not going to blow my mind. It's not going to blow my mind. And it never does. Never does. I also find myself clicking on clickbait a lot. You know, these ads where it will be like obviously an Instagram girl from a couple of years ago dressed as a Native American, wearing like Native American garb, but then they use like a filter on their phone that makes them look like, old timey filter or whatever. And it'll say something like, newly discovered pictures from the old West that'll blow your number 5 will blow your mind, like that. And I'm always like, they didn't look like that. They didn't have wrist watches in the 1800s. It's always something ridiculous. Yeah, Dr. Earl Scheib, who Dr. Earl Scheib is the one who did this plastic surgery. They are just. Let's see if we can find any other pictures of these guys. Any other crazier? Oh my God! How does this become a thing? Where you go, look at this. This is real. Oh my God. That is so disheartening. And again, did you see the picture? I showed you the pictures of them when they were young. And look, they're out and about. They aren't hiding. They're some of these pictures too are like different stages of their plastic surgeries. Like this stage is like 30% done because at some point they turn into like, like that guy. Like it's just not good. Oh, what is that? Is that his kid? Who's that? Brendan. Oh, okay. That's Brendan Schaub, MMA. Oh God. I mean, they don't look real. This is what an addiction to plastic. That's the one. We always see this one. This specific here. This is the picture that always accompanies like a clickbait ad that says, your favorite celebrities from the 1970s and the horrible plastic surgeries they've had. Number 5 will blow your mind. This is the picture that's always the one that you go, huh? Like, is that Randolph Mantooth from Emergency One? No way. What has happened to Randolph Mantooth? And it's not. By the way, you young kids out there, Emergency One was one of my favorite shows when I was little. It was a show about firemen. It was a Chicago fire before television got real. All right, so that's what's going on with the meme twins. They died. God bless them. They were like a couple of scientists. They were here's what they were. Okay, so because I've actually looked into these guys before. Like this isn't just new. This isn't just me stumbling across them now. I mean, I saw them for years and I was just intrigued, so I had to learn about who they were. There were a couple of Russian brothers who are like super wealthy. They were like super wealthy Russian, oligarchs or whatever you want to call them. And they didn't like just being wealthy, so they basically bought their way through all kinds of PhDs and doctorates, and they're all from like sketchy universities that also have libraries with their family name on. It's like really sketchy shit. And then they used that in the 70s to sort of hoodwink French television into putting them on the air. And they ended up they initially bankrolled the entire thing, and to their credit, the show actually became very popular. The show in France became a very popular French TV show. It was called Temps X, and it was like a science show. And they presented themselves not as these rich oligarch types, but instead they presented themselves as a couple of interesting, good-looking twins who are also really smart and into science. And they were. I showed you the early pictures. They were good-looking men. They were good-looking young men who reached an age where they couldn't believe that they weren't handsome anymore, and so they just started getting surgeries and surgeries and surgeries. All right. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, this is a rough one. I hate this story. David Kechner. David Kechner has been arrested. David Kechner is another one of my favorite under the radar comedic actors. We talked about Dave Foley of Kids in the Hall earlier today. Dave Foley celebrating a birthday. Happy birthday, Dave. David Kechner is another one of these guys who I don't know that a lot of people definitely, or know when they hear the name, but when they see him, they know who he is. And they know him from a couple of roles. Most notably, well, he was on Saturday Night Live for a couple of years, and he did a character on Saturday. He did nothing on Saturday Night Live. It was like wasted Saturday Night Live years where it was like a really bad cast. And he had one character who I still believe is one of the funniest characters that has ever been on Saturday Night Live. And he only appeared a couple of times, and his name was T-Bone. And T-Bone was like a crazy hillbilly, and he was really funny. And so he was known for that. He best known as Champ from the Anchorman movies. The Anchorman movies, Champ, the sports guy. That's David Kechner. That guy's hysterical. Todd Packer. I forgot. Todd Packer from The Office. Remember Todd Packer, the sales guy who every couple of seasons would come through Scranton and hang out with Michael Scott and the people in the office. And Michael Scott thought Todd Packer was the coolest guy ever. And Packer was just a total piece of garbage. But that's David Kechner. So we've established David Kechner, very funny guy. Love David Kechner. He got busted on New Year's Eve drunk driving. David Kechner, the comedic actor known for, here you go. Okay. Known for his roles in Anchorman and the U.S. version of The Office, was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence. According to TMZ, which first reported the news, Kechner was arrested in Simi Valley, California on Friday afternoon and spent New Year's Eve at the Ventura County Jail. He was released around 5 a.m. Saturday morning. Authorities told the news site he's scheduled to appear in court in March. Kechner is perhaps best known for playing the dim-witted sports reporter Champ Kind in the Anchorman films, as well as the obnoxious sales rep Todd Packer on the TV show The Office. On Friday, TMZ reported police received a call regarding an erratic driver who had allegedly hit a street sign. After arriving at the scene, officers gave Kechner a sobriety test, which he reportedly failed, and arrested him. His car was also towed. See, they gave him a sobriety test. That's interesting because most celebrities will not take a sobriety test. Pro athletes do not take sobriety tests. And honestly, a lot of rich people who, lawyers, a lawyer who will not take a sobriety test. If you get pulled, here's the thing about sobriety tests. And look, I do not drive drunk. I drove drunk and got actually, I wasn't drunk. I was caught. I had been drinking. You know what? There's no way. There's no way to spin this. I just if you're drinking, you really shouldn't drive, and there's no reason to now with Uber and all that stuff. If I was in my 20s, if I was in my 30s, and I was still going out every Friday and Saturday night nowadays, I would never drive. Why would anybody drive? Call an Uber. There is a dude that will take you wherever you want to go for the price of one beer. I mean, if you want to go to the bar that's like 3 miles away from your house, don't drive. Just get an Uber, or better yet, walk. It's 3 miles or whatever. But like, we generations and generations that came before, we drove when we shouldn't have quite a few times. And yeah. So anyway, like I said, I was arrested and I was charged with DUI about 20 years ago, and I beat it. And one of the reasons, well, we won't go into one of the reasons why I beat it, because they threw it out. They were like, yeah, you know what? This was actually kind of a BS traffic stop to begin with. So they threw it out. I can tell you why I beat it. And this is an attest. This attests to the fact that I was drinking, and I probably shouldn't have been driving. Certainly by today's mindset, I should not have been driving. But I wasn't drunk. I wasn't like crazy drunk, and that's the reason that I passed, or that the judge threw it out, because I had a good tape. Now, what does that mean? When you're arrested for DUI, what they will do, one of the first things they'll do is they will sit you in a room, an empty room with one chair, and they'll leave you in there for about 15 minutes. And the reason that you're in that room, it's not because they're busy doing other things. It's because there's a camera in that room recording everything that you do while you are in police custody. And if you're drunk, if you're behaving like a drunk, if you're sitting there, you're moving around, you're stumbling, you're bored, you're not thinking, it's called having a bad tape. So what I ended up doing in this particular instance was they opened the door, they put me in the room, and I didn't even know this was a thing, but there was a chair in the room, and I just sat in the chair, and I didn't move for 15 minutes. And then when I came to court, my lawyer said, Your Honor, he wasn't drunk. Look at his tape. And then the judge watched the tape, and the judge said, yeah, this is not a slam dunk DUI case. This guy seems totally fine. And then also in the car, they may ask you questions in the car while you're driving to the police. They will talk to you. They will try and get you to talk about stuff. My tape in the car was perfect. I wasn't slurring. I was having rational, normal conversations with the police officers. I had good tape. So that's how I beat it. The judge said, because we were going to fight it. We were going to say, look, if the state wants to go to war on this, let's go to full trial on this. I'm not going to plead. Most people just plead. I'm not going to plead. I'm going to argue this in court. I had a great attorney who was wanted to go to war on it, and the state, after talking with the judge, and all the evidence they had was the tape. The judge said the state has decided they're not going to push this. This was not a terrible situation where you were swerving and all of that stuff. I got pulled over for a rolling stop. I rolled through a stoplight, and then the officer said that I had smelled. I smelled like alcohol. And so he asked me to do the sobriety test. So I said, fine. He said, yeah, sure. I'll do the sobriety test. And I walked the line and I did all this stuff. And again, good tape. I remember one cop looking at the other cop after I did all of the road tests. The cop looked at the other cop and went like this. Like, I don't know. It seems all right. It wasn't like, let's ring him up. It was, I don't know. He seems fine. Again, rolling stop. I rolled through a stoplight. And then they said, well, we're going to ask you to take a breathalyzer. And that's when I said, yeah, no, I'm not going to take a breathalyzer, because I knew I had had a couple of drinks. And if I pop 1%, whatever, it's not like I knew I wasn't going to be like double the legal limit or anything dangerous, but I didn't want that. And here is why I'm surprised that David Kechner took the tests. Because people who are informed about this, and again, this is not me. This is not how to beat a DUI, but all of those things. You're being recorded in the car. You're being recorded at the station. You do your test. You're being recorded when they do the test, your road sobriety. And then when you blow, they have actual physical evidence of, what your alcohol level is. All of those things are pieces of evidence that they will use against you in court. So, I mean, I was willing to give them some evidence. I was willing to do the walk and all of that kind of stuff. But then when it came to the breathalyzer, the one thing that everybody that I've ever known knows about this stuff, they said, don't blow. Don't blow, because that's the one piece of evidence that can sink you. If your tape is great and they have no other evidence, they will not pursue charges because they can't win. Because they're not going to be able to win with no evidence. So just remember that. But also remember, Uber, Lyft. There is absolutely no reason for anybody who's in their 20s who are going out partying in this day and age to ever have to drive drunk. We didn't have those luxuries. We didn't have those. Those were things that had they been available to us. My friend. Here's what I had. I had my buddy Aaron who owned a limo company, and so I used to have him pick me up. Hey, come get me. Are you anywhere near? Yeah. Or later, when Aaron and I became best friends, we would just go out. I'd say, "Can we take the limo?" He'd be like, "Yeah, but I'm not driving." I'm like, "Okay, climb in the back with me." So we were always pretty good at that. Never really had a problem. But anyway, so I'm surprised David Kechner actually took the test, because most celebrities do not take the test. Let's see. They added, our traffic investigative officers responded to the area and determined that Mr. Kechner had indeed been in a collision with a street sign, which caused the damage to his vehicle. Ultimately, the officers arrested him for both DUI and hit and run. Okay, there you go. Well, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it for today. Is there anything that I missed? Vertical farming. Vertical farming is trending. We can talk about vertical farming. What is vertical farming, Pugs? Well, I'll tell you. Vertical farming is it's happening a lot in Asia and in other parts of the world where they have large urban populations who don't have easy access to fresh food and fresh vegetables. And vertical farming is just basically turning an old office building that is in a downtown area that can't sell anything out, turning it into a farm, doing it all hydroponically and growing stuff vertically, in the office building. And, here's why it's trending, because you think Bitcoin is going to be hot. This year, 2022 is believed to be the year of vertical farming. Why? Well, because one thing that the pandemic has taught us all is that you do not have to be in the office. More companies are now moving towards satellite. So, well, not satellite, but that's the term, not in office, at home work. There is no need anymore for companies to absorb the overhead of expensive downtown office space or expensive downtown buildings. So what's going to end up happening, and what is already happening, I mean, just look at downtown Dallas. You are going to have these major giant urban structures, these buildings, these glorious towers that are going to be 90% empty, because the companies that once had people coming to the office every day, they don't do it. So what are you going to do with these buildings? Well, a lot of these buildings, the big movement now is to turn them into vertical farms, where you're going to just kind of one of the things that this story that's trending is about is it's in Cleveland, I think. Let me see if I can find it somewhere. I want to say Cleveland or Cincinnati or what. That doesn't matter. It's a building that was a downtown building. It used to be an office building, and everybody moved out. They said for the past 2 years, they had less than 20% occupancy. So there was just too much space for nothing. So what they are doing, what the plans are, is that they are going to turn it into a vertical farm, with the ground level is going to be a massive farmer's market. So it's like they'll grow all the stuff in the building. And then when people who live in the urban areas who, find it difficult to get out the farm stands and get really good, fruits and vegetables and stuff like that, they can just come to this downtown centralized location where all of these fresh fruits and all that stuff is being grown. So that's why vertical farming is trending, because there you go. And it's more sustainable. It's, you don't have to truck farm goods and stuff to market, so vertical farming, there you go. Bitcoin, so last year, vertical farming, 2022. But you get an investor, you could buy a building. Buildings are cheap. Buildings are empty. People are underwater with buildings. They, They don't want to do all the they don't want to do all the things, and especially older buildings. There's a lot of shit that's got to be done to an older building to bring it up to code so that people can inhabit it and live in it and work in it and all that kind of stuff. You have to do that with farming. You just turn it into a giant hydroponic lab. And man, think about that. Once weed becomes legal, you'll have these giant buildings that are just grow houses. How awesome is that going to be? It's not like you can't grow things indoor. Dudes have been growing weed indoors for 40 years now. I mean, it's proven, and it's better weed. It's better than the stuff that you get in a ditch or in a farm or that grows outside. It's climate controlled. People care for it more easily. You get in an elevator and you go up to the next floor, and then instead of having to traipse across acres and acres and acres and acres of field. No, it's more sustainable. It's more green, and it solves the problem of giant empty downtown buildings. Okay, so about the DUI thing, Ross says the cops claim they can do a blood sample at the station if you refuse the breathalyzer, or maybe that's just a scare tactic. No, Ross, here's what they need. They can do a blood sample. They can forcibly take blood from you. But they need to have a judge. A judge has to sign a warrant, basically a personal body warrant or whatever, and then they can take your blood if they have a judge. But the problem is that judges don't typically hang out at police stations at 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday. So what has been happening with DUI checkpoints on big holidays, 4th of July, New Year's Eve, whatever, they do these big DUI checkpoints. What they do is they have a judge there. They have a judge in a truck or in a van, like in a mobile testing unit, and that judge works that checkpoint. And when people come through and they refuse, then the judge looks them over and decides whether or not there's a warrant that can be issued for their blood, and then that judge will issue it right there. But if Ross, if you're ever like on the street and the cop says, well, we can take blood from you forcibly at the station, all you got to say is, not without a warrant, you can't. You got a judge there? If you wake a judge up at 3:00 in the morning on Friday night, you then go ahead. I'm going to roll the dice on that. I'm guessing that no judge is going to get out of his bed and drive down to the station because you think I might be drunk. No, they cannot forcibly take your blood. They have to have warrant, and the warrant has to be signed by a judge, and it has to be, and it's got to be relatively quick, because what are they going to, okay, well, we'll lock you up until we can get a warrant. And then what? 12 hours later, the judge is going to sign a warrant. You're not going to be drunk 12 hours later. It's not worth it. The judge has to be there. They have to take blood within a reasonable amount of time of them suspecting that you're drunk. So don't worry about it. They ever say, well, we can forcibly take blood from you. We'll just take you down to the station. Say, no, you can't. Not without a warrant. This is still America. At least the last time I checked. It's we're coming up on the anniversary of January 6th. We'll see how things play out on the 7th. But as of right now, this is still America, and you need a warrant for that shit. Which is interesting, because that has always been a right and a left issue. The right has always been, well, let's just get a judge to work the checkpoint and we'll take these son of a bitches' blood from. Doesn't that sound like an invasion of your liberty? That sounds like a real, these are the same people who are now like, you can't force me to take an injection that I don't. This is my body. I have liberty. Oh, shut up. The inconsistency is ridiculous. There's another thing that was trending that I stayed away with, but since we're talking about hypocrisy and inconsistencies, apparently Fox News did this whole segment where they were all outraged, panel of like 4 people. They were all just outraged and screaming about how you, the American citizen who is a parent, should send your child to school, regardless if they mandate that your child must stay home. You send your child to school. Let these school districts see hundreds of children waiting out in the cold. Okay, not my kid. No, not to prove your fucking inbred point. I'm not going to have my kids standing out in the freezing cold of January just so that you can make a point, some political propaganda point with the local school board. Shut up. It's your right as an American. You pay your taxes. Those schools are built. And so that they're doing this. They're ranting about do not accept that you have to school your child at home any longer. This is an outrage. Every person on the Fox News panel who was arguing that it was an outrage was doing it from home. It was 4 boxes. Because they can't go into the office. Fox News doesn't let their people come into the office. So from their homes, they just completely ranted about how you, the parent, you need to send your kid to school. How dare they tell you that your child can... So let's just say that intellectual consistency is not really something we engage in on either side here in 2022. But that was funny. That was trending. Wait a second. Wait a second. I got a couple other things that we can talk about here. Look at this. I didn't even see this. This is one more. This is trending as it just pops up. Nirvana is trending. This is the baby. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Spencer Eldon. Spencer Eldon is the baby that is on the cover of the Nevermind album, the iconic rock and roll album from 1992, I think, maybe. It's the baby in the pool, the newborn baby swimming in a pool, like underwater, and he's reaching his hand out to grab a dollar bill that is on a fish hook. So it's like the baby is reaching, the newborn baby is already reaching out for the dollar bill. Okay, so that baby is now a fully grown man, Spencer Eldon. And oh my God, he's suing Nirvana. He's suing Nirvana because it's child porn. Because how dare they subject me to child porn? Child porn, Nirvana. They were doing child porn. So ridiculous. My first issue is, if you look at a naked newborn baby and you go to that's porn, that's on you, weirdo. That's on you. There's nothing sexual about a child. There's nothing. I mean, it's a baby. If you've ever changed diapers, there is nothing sexual about a baby. Yes, those are genitals. Humans have them, but it is no more sexually enticing than seeing your dog's dick. I mean, it's not a sexual thing. So it's weird. First of all, Spencer Eldon, it's weird that you believe that's child porn, because that must mean that on some level you see that as sexual exploitation of a minor. No, it's not. You're not wearing like a ball gag and whips and chains. Child porn is. It's just such an unsettling topic. But that is not what that is. The lawsuit alleges that Cobain, who died in 1994 at the age of 27, purposefully chose the image of Eldon with his penis visible, reaching for a dollar bill dangling from a fish hook, quote, like a sex worker. Okay, not only are you weird for seeing that as child porn, for seeing a naked baby as child porn, again, that's on you, Eldon. That's fucking weird. But the fish hook and the dollar bill and the baby reaching for it is not like a sex worker. That's another weird jump that you made. That just says that you think that babies are sexual objects. Nobody thinks babies are sexual objects. Nobody except weirdos. This is a cash grab. You don't even believe this, Spencer. You don't. Oh, maybe you do. And if you do, get help, because that's a fucked up, weird thing. The baby on the cover of Nirvana's Nevermind reaching out for the dollar on a fish hook isn't supposed to symbolize the actions of a sex worker. It symbolizes American greed from birth. It symbolizes that from the moment we are born, we are grasping for dollars. Anybody who knows anything about Nirvana and Kurt Cobain knows what he was getting at with that album cover. It's a statement about the consumerism and about the greed and about all of the things that are in American society. That's what it's about. It's not a baby reaching for a dollar bill dangling from a fishhook like a sex worker. No, it's commentary on the modern American state of mind. Not even the modern American state of mind. We've always been this way. Spencer's true identity and legal name are forever tied to the commercial sexual exploitation he experienced as a minor. Again, it wasn't sexual unless you see babies as sexual, you weirdo. Spencer's true identity and legal name are forever tied to the commercial sexual exploitation he experienced as a minor, which has been distributed and sold worldwide from the time he was a baby to the present day. This is according to the lawsuit. But here's the problem. Like I said, Eldon's like 30 years old now. He's looking for a cash grab. On the 15th anniversary, so 15, so what, 30? So when he was like 16 years old, he participated, and again, a 16-year-old, that's the, whatever, he's a child, but he participated in the promotion of the 15th anniversary of the release of the album. He was all in. He was like, hey, look at me now. That was me. I was the baby. And he got checks, and he showed up, and he did appearances, and he did all kinds of things, and he made money from it, and he was totally fine with it at 16. And again, that's at 16, and he's a minor, so we probably shouldn't be holding him responsible for decisions that he made at 16, especially now that at 30 he has a different point of view. But he also did it for the 25th anniversary. And for the 25th anniversary, when he was 26, when he was a grown-up just a couple of years ago, he reenacted it as a grown man. Now, a 26-year-old man, he reenacted it for a series of pictures where he was, again, naked in a pool, grabbing at the dollar. Oh, except that he wasn't naked, because it says, Eldon previously recreated the cover to celebrate the 15th and 25th anniversaries of the album's release. He volunteered to do his latest iteration of the cover naked. So the 25th anniversary one, he said, I'll do it naked. But the photographer thought that would be weird. So they didn't. So they made him wear like some kind of a thing. But just a couple of years ago, he was so okay with it, he was going to recreate it naked at 26. He spoke positively at the time of the cover back in 2015 to USA Today at the Seattle Museum of Pop Culture, which displayed the Nevermind album cover in an exhibit titled Nirvana, Taking Punk to the Masses. Photographer Kurt Weddle, who is named as a defendant in the lawsuit, along with graphic designer Robert Fisher, was tasked with shooting the cover photo for what would become Nirvana's breakthrough album. The photographer was friends with Eldon's parents and asked if their 4-month-old baby could be a part of the album shoot. Eldon at the time said, or not at the time, but a couple of years ago, said, my dad was like, yeah, no problem, man. We'll just go down to the pool and throw him in, and that'll be it, Eldon recalled. And it was no big deal. And no one knew what it was going to become. And then it became what it is today. One of the biggest albums of all time. All right, so he's suing the coolest guy in rock and roll, second coolest guy in rock and roll. Bruce is the coolest guy in rock and roll. He's suing Dave Grohl. He's suing Chris Novoselic. He's suing the estate of Cobain. He's doubling up on Cobain. He's suing the estate of Cobain, and he's suing Cobain's daughter, and he is suing Courtney Love. He is suing the record company. He's suing everybody and anybody. He's suing anybody who ever heard the Nirvana Nevermind album or purchased the album. He's suing everybody, and basically, he's not going to get anything for it here. It was dismissed. So there you go. So a judge took all of that into account and went, yeah, this is a money grab, kid. You seem to have been fine with it just a couple of years ago. So yeah, we're good. We're gonna move on. Case dismissed. That's about it. That's about it. We're gonna do it. Show dismissed at this point. I see that we lost a lot of people. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Rob Barr points out Kurt Cobain's daughter, Frances Bean, she wasn't even born yet. But yet she's being sued. She's being sued in this is what I thought was interesting. The estate, the structure, the estate of Kurt Cobain's, the management of his money and his estate and all of the royalties and everything that continues to come in um, for Nirvana's Nevermind album sales. He's suing the estate, but he's also suing the daughter who wasn't born. Who's, I don't get it. I don't get it. All right. So that's going to do it. Oh, let's check in on my Bitcoin. Let's see how my Bitcoin went through today. It started out, I was up 1 penny. And now I'm down 2 pennies. So, yeah. So I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin. I'm down 2 pennies. I started out at $4.85. That was yesterday. That was the initial $4.85 in Bitcoin. And then today, when we started the show, I was at $4.86 in Bitcoin. And now I'm at $4.83. So Bitcoin, fun. You can support the show with real money because, that's kind of how things get paid for. Or we can keep doing the Bitcoin thing. I don't care. You want to sell me or send me some Bitcoin? You can do that too. You can do that on the Cash app, Pugs Cast on Cash App. Thank you to Adam Reyna for getting me. He sent me $5. I was talking about Bitcoin and I was like, I don't know anything about Bitcoin. And so he sent me $5 in Bitcoin, and now I'm having fun watching my Bitcoin go up and down. It's currently, the $5 he initially sent is now worth $4.83. Moving in the wrong direction, people. Moving in the wrong direction. Albert Gamboa, good point. The Copper Tone girl, she should also sue. Hey, the Copper Tone girl was somebody. The Copper Tone girl is somebody famous. Is it Brooke Shields? That's a good question. Let's ask. Let's ask Bing. Whenever I ask Bing a question through the microphone, it gets it so wrong. So let's try this. Who was the Copper Tone baby? Oh, got that one right. All right, so the original one is someone named Sherry Brand Irwin, who is not famous. But I thought Marilyn Chambers. I thought Marilyn Chambers and Brooke Shields were Copper Tone babies. Let me see. Marilyn Chambers was a porn star. Was Marilyn Chambers a Copper Tone baby? Okay.
According to Snopes.com, Marilyn Chambers was born Marilyn and Briggs on April 22nd, 1952, in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay, so why would? Oh no, Marilyn Chambers was the girl on the ivory soapbox. Yeah. Okay, so it wasn't Copper Tone. Hold on, who's Brooke Shields? Was Brooke Shields the Copper Tone baby?
According to HoustonPress.com, still, we do know that some people brave the hazardous rays with a magic cream to protect them, and the Copper Tone baby is the most famous mascot in that particular product field.
I don't know what that is.
Like Brooke Shields is with Ivory now, Jodie Foster is pegged as the original Copper Tone baby because she once appeared in a commercial for the lotion as a child.
Look at that. Okay, so Brooke Shields was also an ivory soap girl, and Jodie Foster was a Copper Tone baby. Hey, look at that. I went looking for one thing and I found something else that's interesting. All right. So Brooke Shields is one of the original Copper Tone babies. Because she once, for the lotion as a child, the people babyface, the people behind iconic images is where that came from. All right. Went a little bit longer because I felt bad about the whole, getting kicked off the air thing. We are going to do we're going to do a pillow talk tonight. I know we got Sunglasses. He's going to be with us, so we'll do something there. We also have maybe James Parker. I'm thinking maybe James Parker is going to be with us tonight on Pillow Talk. So you can join us at Pillow Talk. That's our second stream. We do 2 streams every day. We do high noon here at noon, and then we do the Pillow Talk stream, which is a little bit more conversational, a little bit more, fun. Spotify isn't working. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm having some internet issues. We'll just wait. I'll read some things. We'll see if it ever comes up. It's like buffering. Yeah, everything does always go back to Hinckley. There, look at that. Jodie Foster. And now I'm trying to play some John Hinckley. I didn't even put that together. You guys are brilliant. You guys are absolutely... No, I don't want to listen to that now. Oh, I have big, dumb, fat guy fingers. My phone is too small, and I have big, dumb, fat guy fingers, and I always hit the wrong thing. Look at this. The music of John Hinckley. We just talked about Jodie Foster. Seems like no better time to end the show than that. It is 2:46 Central Standard Time, so we're not going to do it behind the scenes because I lost most of the when I had to restart the show. I lost most of the chat things that I like to comment on during the backstage portion. But we'll be back at 9:00. So, all right. No, Albert, you, sir, you are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, there was a period. There's a period not too long ago where I didn't think that doing something like this would be of any interest to me. And, I worked in radio for 20 years. I did talk shows and all that kind of stuff. And I felt I'm so was disgusted by the radio industry that it just didn't seem like there was ever going to be an opportunity for me to be able to do what it is that I really like to do. This is what I like to do. I like to sit around and I like to talk with people and I like to talk about things and I have hot takes and I have opinions and sometimes I'm an idiot and sometimes, maybe I say something fairly interesting. I don't know. I'm not going to give myself that credit, but I don't need to go into it. But you guys, this is so much fun. I appreciate you allowing me this opportunity and actually it would suck if I had to do this and there was nobody here, but you guys are here every single day. The only thing that I would ask of you is spread the word of the show. Invite a friend. Just bring a friend. If you're listening at work, listen to it with the speakers up. I don't know. Share it when you see it going around on Facebook or whatever. Share it. Help out the show. Every time you see something about the show, just forward it. Share it to your people. That's how we grow. The money thing, look, that's important. Any tips that you can do, if you want to think of this like a bar and I'm your bartender, and maybe you tip the bartender $5 or whatever it is. Most of you people tip better than that. And man, am I appreciative because we would not make it. I would not be able to continue doing 2 shows a day without some of you in the way that you help out this show so consistently. And I hate to say it, but unfortunately it's a reality that it takes a lot of work, believe it or not. There's a lot of prep that goes into this noon show, and then there's, I got a couple hours off to do what I need to do, and then I got to start prepping again for the Pillow Talk show. No, never. So you can tip and help out the show with any of those ways. Venmo, PayPal, Pugscast on Cash App, all of those things. All right. Thank you, folks. Love you. See you tonight at 9. Pillow Talk.